This video is sponsored by Skillshare. There's a famous proverb which states that it takes a village to raise a child. This adage is just as transferable to the process of making a film. The film production process relies on a village of people who each bring their own expertise and experiences to the process of making a movie. For anyone who'd like to work on sets, having a knowledge of your own role is of course a given, but having a basic understanding of the roles of each other department and the specific crew roles is a useful and necessary skill. It's also important to understand that there's an entire ecosystem of career paths available in the film industry, beyond the commonly known director, DP, actor and producer jobs. So, in this first crew breakdown video, I'll go over one such crew position in the camera department, that of the second assistant camera, which it's referred to in the US, or clapper loader, which other countries refer to it as. I'm starting this series with this crew position as it's a role I'm very familiar with, having worked as a second AC myself over many years. I'll look at the role or duties which come with this position, a loader's average day on set, and finally go over a couple of tips which are useful if you'd like to succeed in this position. The camera department is relatively small and consists of only a few jobs. At the bottom there's the trainee, an apprentice position which is only there on big enough jobs, the second AC or loader, the first AC or focus puller, the camera operator, and right at the top, the director of photography. The two primary duties of the clapper loader can be found right in the name. The first part, clapper, refers to the clapperboard or slate. The loader writes the correct film or card roll, the scene, the slate, the take, and other necessary information, which could include lens sizes or VFX info on the slate. The sound person rolls the sound.
Roll sound.
Speed.
The loader announces the information on the board.
6, take 7.
Waits for the camera to roll.
Rolling.
And then claps the board when the focus puller tells them to mark. This allows the video and sound, which are recorded separately, to be easily synchronized in post by matching the moment the board claps in the footage with the sound of the clap. The loader part of the name refers to the act of loading film stock into a magazine, or, more commonly now, loading cards into the camera. An important part of the second's role is keeping track of what cards or magazines have been exposed, and making sure that the footage is transported to the film lab, or for digital footage, the digital image technician, or DIT. This makes the second's job of vital importance, as they are solely responsible for handling the footage, and therefore would be solely to blame should, worst nightmare, any cards get incorrectly formatted or erased, or any film stock incorrectly exposed to light or damaged. As cinematographer Oliver Stapleton notes, loading may not sound like much of a job, but in actuality it is very important. If the wrong film is in the camera, or if it gets loaded twice, or lost, or put in the wrong can, then the scene could be lost. When this happens, the loader can become deeply unpopular very quickly. Kubrick fired one loader I know on his first day of work for walking across the set holding a magazine upside down. This was a trifle harsh, but there's a right way to do the job, and the rules are there for a very good reason. If you screw up, the minimum cost is about $20,000, and the max, any figure you might care to imagine. In order to track footage, shots, and camera information, the loader is required to take detailed camera notes. These include the lens, stop, white balance, ASA, filters, and frame rate. This can be done the old school way with a neg report book, which I do, or with an app or spreadsheet. For VFX shots, the second is also required to record measurements in the camera report, such as the focus distance, camera height, and inclination of the camera. Other common duties include helping the focus puller change lenses, changing the camera batteries, marking the position of actors, and, depending on the first AC, helping to build the camera. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. If you'd like to explore videos on filmmaking topics such as cinematography, directing, editing, and many others, Skillshare is the place to go. I use it whenever I need a dose of inspiration or I'm looking for a fresh perspective on cinematography. I recently enjoyed a class which covered concepts on filming solo content, where filmmaker and cinematographer Dan Lu went over tips for how to work as a one-person crew. It's specifically curated for learning, meaning there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and follow your creativity. Skillshare is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. With all this content, projects to create, and a community of fellow creatives, Skillshare empowers you to grow and enhance your skills by offering classes designed for real-life application. So sign up with Skillshare today. Typically, the loader is the first in the camera team to arrive on set. The day starts by unloading the gear from the truck to a magliner, where it's organized and prepared for the first scene. Amongst this camera gear, the loader usually has a personal bag with tools and consumables for the camera. The camera will be built, a lens put on, and a slate marked up. The second AC or camera trainee will then locate a good spot to set up a charging station for the batteries throughout the day, somewhere with power close to the set, which is not in the way. As the first scene is blocked or rehearsed, the loader will put down marks at the actor's feet, which they'll need to hit during the scene. This could be a starting position, an end position, or both. These marks are made in the shape of a T to indicate which direction the actor needs to be facing. When positioning is critical and the actors need to hit an extremely precise position, I like to make arrow toe markers with tape so that each foot has an exact stopping point. Next, the second will get the information for the slate from the script supervisor and write it on the board. If there's no script supervisor, then the first assistant director will usually provide guidance on how the scene should be slated.
48 Nazis, take one.
Throughout the day, this will be repeated whilst changing lenses, cards and batteries whenever necessary. When changing a card, always announce to the first AD that the camera is reloading. The second may also need to help reconfigure the camera throughout the day, such as for a Steadicam setup, an underwater housing, or to go on a crane. After a day's shooting, the equipment needs to be cleaned, packed away, batteries charged, and the day's camera report handed into production. If shooting on film, the exposed negatives will be labeled and dropped off at the lab, with a report detailing any necessary instructions for development, such as push processing. As the security of the footage lies on the head of the loader, they should always be sure to hand over the cards in person to the DIT or data wrangler. The roll number should be written on gaffer tape, for example A001, and then wrapped around the card, or card case, so that the DIT knows exactly which card it is. The same applies to film cans or magazines. As you'll often be busy and have lots to remember, writing notes on gaffer tape about exposed footage, dead batteries, or faulty gear is a crucial form of communication. Never forget that your primary job is to assist the camera team. Therefore, on top of all the technical requirements, it's also your job to be a nanny and ensure the camera team is happy, has tea, coffee, snacks, jackets, water, sun cream, or whatever they require. This is the easiest way to get hired again. When the actors arrive on set, I also get their names and write them on tape, which I stick to the camera. That way, if the DP wants to communicate with an actor, then they'll have their name right there, without awkwardly having to ask for it. Your job is to make things run as smoothly as possible for the rest of the team. Being able to preempt things before they happen is probably the most important skill. This comes with experience, but also with always being focused. For example, be near the camera and keep an ear out for anything the first AC or DP says. If you hear any murmur of changing to a 35mm lens, then you can quickly be there with the correct lens in your hand before it's even called for. Or if the camera is about to go up on a crane, for example, put in a pre-ID front slate before the camera is raised out of reach. Never let a camera battery die or a card roll out all the way. Always preempt things before they happen. Before production begins, I like to always go to the gear check, even if it's unpaid. as it's a good way to familiarize yourself with the camera team and the gear on the job before the shoot begins. There are plenty of other technical tips which can be picked up over time, so come to set being open to learn, with an easy to be around attitude, pay close attention, be quick but never panic, and be prepared for long days and hard work. The life of a loader isn't always the most glamorous, but the skills you can learn from this career are immense. There's a reason that it's often the traditional starting job for many aspiring DOPs. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Crew Breakdown. If you liked this content and would like me to continue this series, then please give the video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.